I'm Lieutenant Alexander Jackson. I'm the Executive Officer for Bravo Company at Task Force Center. So right now we're at Shelby Park. It's in Eagle Pass, and right now we are ensuring that people who are trying to cross from the other side, that they're using the legal point of entry. So if the Texas Army National Guard were not here, then individuals would be able to cross through here. We have no idea who they are, what they're doing here, what their purpose is. But when they go through the legal point of entry, that's when the proper authorities are able to do that. They're able to see who they are. The government has a list of people who are known to be a threat or who are dangerous to our citizens here. And so we just need to check out who they are and make sure they're not dangerous before they enter.
So I'm the Operations Sergeant Major for Joint Task Force Lone Star, currently operating out of our forward TAC to run brigade level operations in coordination with the task forces that are here on the ground. It's important because the governor has dictated that this is a strategic spot for illegal migration. So we came across here so that we have the ability to respond immediately to whatever support might be required by our partner agencies and by the task forces that operate here in the area.
1, 2, 3.
So right now what we have set up, we have a 32 by 36 air beam, and then we have a 20 by 21 air beam that is set up in this area. Right now we're running everything off of 260K generators, which allows their heaters to work, the power, everything to work in this area for all the command team and the Joint Task Force to be able to have command and control. So they're running the whole command of this whole area is all pretty much co-isolated in this area right here. It takes a lot of coordination for all this. It takes a lot of soldiers, a lot of manpower. So during deployment times, we set up the full structure like we would during a deployment. So we have a full security, 360-degree security around us. We have security people walking in our area. So if anything does happen, we have high command team that's in and out of this. So we're set it up just like we would for a national deployment.
And we're helping to secure the state and try and help curb the illegal migration problem that we're dealing with here in the state. With mass immigration, everybody's coming across, and I think it's good to welcome people in the right way to come across, but mass numbers of people coming across the border, it puts a strain on the cities who are not equipped to deal with tens of thousands of people who come across in a very short period of time. We've seen that here in Eagle Pass. We've seen it out in El Paso, and try and force the people who are coming here looking for a better life to do it the right way and be processed through the POEs as the country requires them to be.
So being a member of the Texas Army National Guard is being a citizen of Texas. It's working at HEB, it's working in IT centers, it's working all walks of life. But whenever the elected governor decides that he needs people somewhere to keep the state safe, we'll be there.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. What I just showed you was a clip of what's going on at the border with the Texas National Guard. Contrary to what a lot of people are saying, you heard what the man said, okay, that they're securing the border and they're trying to deter everybody to go through the point of entry instead of just coming aimlessly through different parts of the Texas border and just scattering around the whole state. And that's how a lot of criminals and a lot of criminal activity happens. But that's not what the mainstream media and the Biden regime and the Democrats would have you believe. I'm going to show you a few more clips right after this, and then I'm going to show you a clip by Tucker Carlson so everybody gets a little more insight of what's going on and how chaotic it's been. But before I continue, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I want to thank all my subscribers. Also, just a quick note, two quick notes. One, I've been noticing, looking at my analytics, it seems that for some reason it keeps showing that I'm losing subscribers, but yet I don't see them when they subscribe. So I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, I do know that people do leave the channel from time to time. It's fine. Not everybody can take, a lot of things that I got to say, but it is what it is. It's a free country, freedom of speech, and my constitutional rights protect that. And I hold no grudges against that either. If you want to stay on the channel, you can. If you don't, it's fine. And the second thing is, if you want to help support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal, and also a link to my merch store. So you should go check it out and check out the my first shirt that I put out, my design, and there's a lot more to come. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a couple of quick clips of what the National Guard is dealing with. Like I said, the mainstream media and the Democrats, okay, that whole regime, they want everybody to think that what's going on, it's all like some big boogeyman that people, the Republicans and people around the country are trying to conjure up, which is not. So with that being said, let's continue. Just a quick note, people, this clip and the last clip is, I left the link in my description, and I'll leave a link for Tucker Carlson in my description too. But this is by TMD Operation Lone Star. Let's go. Okay, what this woman is saying right here, and this is where people need to understand, okay? These people are not coming here for asylum the way they say. Not all, I should say, are coming here for asylum. Now, everybody talks about, well, I should say the Democrats talk about, that, that people are racist, the Republicans are racist, or whatever the case is. And that, they trying to hide the fact that, no, we're not fanning the flames, we're not fanning the fires. We're not telling these people to come here. They're coming here, because they're trying to, escape persecution and stuff like that. This woman just came out and said, and I'll rewind it just a little bit, okay? And this is where the Democrats, this is where they are lying to the American people, okay? This woman just said, you have to let us in. We have kids. And the guy in Spanish said, you cannot cross here. You must go to the point of entry. And when she tried to argue with him about it, he told her, in other words, just be quiet. Okay? So if anybody doesn't know Spanish, that's exactly what she's saying. I speak Spanish, fluent, read it, write it, so I know exactly what she's saying. But she is so adamant to say, you have to let us in. We have kids. Okay? And that is what the Democrats and the Biden regime are doing. They're telling these people, listen, as long as you got kids, we have to let you in. That's not the case. That's not the way it is. Okay? That's just not the way it is. And this is where people wind up getting hurt. Okay? This is why that woman, that poor woman, and her two children wind up drowning, because she thought that she had the right to come here and try to come here to escape whatever it was, or maybe just to have a better life, but it cost her life and her two children's lives. Okay, but let's continue. He's actually telling her, you got to be quiet, because she's trying to tell him, you have to let us in, we have kids. And he's like, no, in other words, you're wrong, just be quiet. If you want to come in, you got to go through the point of entry. Okay, now you see them, the migrants, they're trying to fight their way in. Okay, that is not the way to do it. They think that by hook or they can just get in, they can force their way in. And you'll see them coming in, and once they hit that American soil, all right, granted, they have to let them in. But they're trying to hold them back from coming in. You see all the barbed wire, they're pushing their way through. Okay, so if anybody comes on and says, oh no, it's not an invasion. When you go to somebody's property and you walk through their fence, you jump over their fence, you kick in their door, you do whatever it is, in America, that's breaking and entering. Okay? This is just breaking and entering on a mass scale. Now, I'm not trying to vilify people that are coming from another country as if they're all bad. But this is the chaos that ensues. And people say, well, you can't talk like that because your words might get people hurt. It's not that I'm trying to get anybody hurt. But here's the thing. We don't know who's in that crowd. The same way, okay, if if I was in trouble and I'm screaming for help and I happen to just jump over somebody's gated fence, they don't know who I am. They don't know if I'm really looking for help or if I'm lying. What would anybody expect them to do? The first thing you're going to do, you're going to try to protect yourself and say, wait, I don't know who this dude is. He might be lying. It could be a setup. We don't know. We don't know if the guys that are chasing him behind him or whatever the case is, we don't know what's going on. Okay, so let's just get that out the way right now. Okay, but I'm going to rewind it a little bit. And this is where people need to understand that the Democrats and the Biden regime, how they implement things and they put things in people's heads. I want everybody to pay attention closely to what the people are chanting in the background. Pay attention. Here we go. You hear what he's saying? Si se puede, si se puede. That is what Barack Obama would chant. That is what Biden and Joe Biden, okay, were chanting. If anybody remembers their slogan, si se puede, yes we can. Okay, and Joe Biden, they directed that to the Hispanic community, if anybody remembers, a couple of years ago and maybe up until recently. Okay, especially when it came to illegals coming into this country. That was their chant. That was their mantra. Si se puede, si se puede. Yes, I can. Yes, we can. Okay? So, you know, the Democrats always talk about how the Republicans and conservatives and people on the right, how they're looking for this boogeyman, that we're racist and all that. No, is that you stoked the fires for all these illegals to come in. But let's continue. This is what Border Patrol and the National Guard have to deal with. This is footage that a lot of people won't see because the mainstream media won't play it because they see that what these people are doing, they're literally breaking it. They're getting through the barbed wire after it's up. You put a barbed wire, you put as much as a stick. That should tell you, do not cross the line. But by hook or by crook, they bogart their way in. Let's continue.
The story of history is the story of invasions. One group of people moving into someone else's land and taking it. One nation ends, another begins. Invasions drive history. Few Americans understand this is happening to them right now. The United States of America is being invaded.
For the love of God, this is a damn invasion. Who is allowing this?
They invade our privacy.
I think it's an invasion of the country.
In other words, it's ending. The country you grew up in no longer exists. Soon it will be unrecognizable. No one is fighting back. Few are even acknowledging it. And the people who lead us are letting it happen. Why are our leaders letting this happen? Well, to destroy the country and to change the demographics. Who lives here determines what the country's like. This country is changing faster than you may understand. Americans are being replaced. That's not a conspiracy theory, it's a fact.
Okay, people, now I'm going to play this clip, like I said, from Tucker Carlson. I'll leave a link in the description. If you click onto that, there's a longer version to it. Okay, this is just a short clip. Now, I'm not trying to play this to stoke fear into anybody. Okay, America is a beautiful place. Everybody knows Tucker Carlson. He's always on point with what he has to say. So I don't want people to start looking at anybody that came here legally or anybody that's looking for a better way of life to look at them as if, you know what, every person you see that you think is not American is a threat. No. What I'm trying to show here is that these, how can I say, these pigs that the Democratic Party are trying to put lipstick on, okay, is not what it seems. And I say that because more and more footage by some media, not so much the mainstream media, but some media, a lot of independent media outlets, a lot of people on the ground in different cities around the country, okay, different content creators and stuff like that are going out there and they are recording and they are putting out actual video of what is going on. So there's no secret about it. Okay? And if anybody thinks that all these Democratic mayors and governors that are fighting back against Biden right now and all that, it's all part of their plan. Because if they really want to stop it, all they really have to do is band together and tell Joe Biden, shut the border. All Biden has to do is what Trump did and go to Mexico, make a phone call and say, shut down your border. But none of them are doing that. But they keep pointing the finger, saying that, oh, everybody else that doesn't agree with us, everybody that is not for this, they are just looking for a boogeyman. Everybody sees it. I see it in the state that I'm in. Okay? And I see it more and more and more. In the past 10 years, I've traveled to 3 or 4 different states, and I see it more and more and more. Now, I think all human life is precious. I think that a lot of people, around the world deserve, a better life. But it also goes to say that they also deserve a better life in their country. But when you have their elected officials that are corrupt and our elected officials that are corrupt, it's not going to help society. It's just not. It doesn't matter who you move to, what demographic you move to, what part of the world, what part of whatever country, what part of whatever city. It doesn't help society if the end game is to just sow chaos. Okay? But let's continue.
In August of 2023, illegal immigration outpaced American births, a brand new population. Last year alone, over 3 million people came here illegally just over our southern border. The media won't tell you it's happening, but if...
Now, I'll just stop real quick for another second. If I can find the clip later on in another video, I'll try to play it. You heard what Tucker Carlson said about how more migrants are coming here and they're outpacing the birth rate in America. Jerry Nadler from New York, that snake of a man that he is, okay? He spoke in front of Congress talking about trying to give a legal citizen passage to, I forgot how many illegals that were here. And his words were that because Americans, we don't have the workforce and Americans are not breeding enough to fill those gaps. And it's like, well, how can Americans, want to start a family if the Democrats are destroying the nuclear family? They've taken God out of the classroom. They're trying to destroy children and parents from having a relationship. They're trying to tell boys they can be girls, girls can be boys. They destroy the economy to make it harder for people to live day by day. You see, they'll cause a problem and then try to say, well, we're just not breeding enough, so we need a stronger workforce. I'm telling you, these Democrats in power, they are evil and wicked, man. Evil and wicked. But let's continue.
If you look around, you can see it, and you can see it most clearly in our cities, which are collapsing. We elect people to protect us. That's what politicians are paid to do. But they've done the opposite. They've sold us out, and they've crushed what our ancestors built. Take a look at our cities. They're hellish, and immigration is the reason. The city of Chicago was in tough shape even before Joe Biden opened the border. Now, parts of it are basically uninhabitable. Even the socialist mayor of Chicago says the city is breaking under the strain.
Without real significant investment from our federal government, it won't just be the city of Chicago that won't be able to maintain this mission. It's the entire country that is now at stake.
Chicago's
it makes you want to chew glass when you listen to the way these people talk. Him saying what he just said, okay, right there in itself, everybody should know that he's just another part of that den of vipers. Because just like the governor of California, he has every right to get together with this man, the governor of Chicago, and say, we need to put a stop to this. We need to band together and tell Joe Biden enough is enough. But they won't. They'll talk the talk, but they won't walk the walk. But let's continue.
Politicians may complain about illegal immigration in public, But in private, they're paying for it with your money.
Exactly.
They're spending more on illegal aliens than on their own citizens.
Yep.
They're doing this secretly. They're hiding it from the public. Our team uncovered a shadow terminal, for example, inside Chicago O'Hare Airport. Hundreds of migrants were being hidden there secretly. Our team pulled up with cameras rolling, and at first we didn't see much. The city erected a black tarp to hide what was going on. The motive was simple. They didn't want us to see it. And a third-party security group paid for with your tax dollars told us that was prohibited. We weren't allowed to see.
What are you doing?
I want to look inside.
For what? For what?
They weren't local or federal law enforcement, so we ignored them. They had no authority. They were rent-a-cops. Inside, our team found more than 100 beds on the floor. The smell was overpowering, repulsive. It was filthy. But it's not just airport terminals that have been given over to people who've come here illegally from the poorest countries in the world, without permission, criminally, and yet being supported in every detail of their lives by taxpayers. No, even police stations in Chicago have been turned into refugee camps. This is new video never seen before of what's actually happening inside Chicago's police stations. Keep in mind, the people who work in those police stations are paid to protect you, but that's not what they're doing. They're running refugee camps for illegal aliens. As our cameraman approached the Chicago police precinct in the city's downtown to see what was happening inside, you see people come out, illegal aliens, shooting him the middle finger and yelling. They didn't hide their hostility. Many other illegals have been pushed into poorer, predominantly black neighborhoods on the south side. We went there. We spoke to someone who has lived on the south side of Chicago virtually his entire life. He's enraged by how the city has fallen apart under its sanctuary city policy.
Andre Smith, CEO of Chicago Against Violence. I don't know the count, but I know that the readiness, the language of sanctuary city, state, and county should have had a plan, but it led to a massive destruction. I have seen almost the worst of the worst in Chicago, but seeing this migrant crisis was the most devastating thing that I ever seen.
You live in America, the place you grew up, the place you'd like to see your children grow up, in much the way that you did. But that won't be possible because of the single greatest sellout in our history. Hundreds of years of America eliminated by an invasion that our leaders made possible. You should know that.
Okay, now you heard that, okay? So for anybody to come on and say, oh no, you know, this is all bull. Listen, there is, if not thousands of hours, possibly hundreds of thousands of hours of video floating around the internet on all social media platforms, okay, that they're trying to suppress. Like I said, all you got to do is look outside. I mean, whatever city you're in, look outside, you know it. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to keep your country up, keep your neighborhood up, keep your community up, keep your state up, your cities up. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you come out and say, listen, we don't want this big influx, or at least let's do it in a right way, instead of letting just millions of people pour in, because those are the numbers now, people. There's no more hiding. As a matter of fact, the Democrats can't even hide it anymore. They're actually agreeing with it. Okay? When you have millions of people coming in, you have hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars that are going to help them. Meanwhile, our cities, okay, our states, our poor neighborhoods never got lifted up. Everybody's waiting years and years and years and years, like in Chicago, Detroit, all these places that have been waiting and begging and crying and shouting to the rooftops for their elected officials, help us first. And then all of a sudden you go and you push them to the side because now you see that they're so fed up. Now they want to bring in a new wave of voters. And this is where people have to start speaking up. Don't hate the majority of the migrants that are trying to come here for a better life, because they can do it through the port of entry, do it the right way, so people could get vetted, so we can keep as many criminals out, as many drug dealers, as many gang members, as many rapists and murderers or kidnappers, whatever they got. Okay? I'll show one more clip that's about 40 seconds long, and then I'll wrap it up. Here we go.
No buses from the southern border expected to arrive here in Chicago today. Second day in a row without migrants arriving by bus, and it comes just days after Governor Pritzker reached out directly to Texas Governor Greg Abbott. In a letter, Pritzker urged Governor Abbott to pause drop-offs this past weekend due to the winter storm. Abbott replied that Texas will continue to send migrants until the president secures the border.
Okay, there you go. You see, these governors, these mayors, they keep going after Abbott, going after Abbott. You got to stop, you got to stop, you got to stop. And the thing about it is, Governor Abbott's like, I'll stop when you guys go to your boss and tell him to shut the border down. You know, people may hate Republicans for thinking like this, or conservatives, but a lot more Democrats are waking up. A lot more people on the left are waking up, because now it's affecting them, and now they're like, wait a minute, we didn't sign up for this. The sad part about that is that the ones that they elected, the Democrat governors and mayors or what have you, okay, they're not listening to their constituents, and they're not going to listen to you. They're playing a good game, okay? So like that, they're going to turn around and say, well, you know, we tried, people. You know, we've been telling Governor Abbott to stop, but he won't stop. People are not stupid. This has nothing to do with Governor Abbott, because Governor Abbott is trying to stop them. You have these mayors and these governors asking them, you need to stop. But yet, Joe Biden is telling Governor Abbott, you can't stop the migrants. You got to let them in. It's evil. It's wicked. That's it, people. What these Democrats are doing, the game that they are playing, is costing people's lives. That's why I said, every person, whether they're an immigrant or an American, that dies, be it them trying to cross the border and they drown, or they get kidnapped, disappeared, raped, murdered, whatever the case is. The same goes for every district attorney, for every Democrat politician that is letting criminals out into the street. All this chaos in every state that is happening through the hands of a Democrat, all that blood is on them. And they don't care. They don't care about the immigrants, and they don't care about Americans. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pass it around, and pass the word around, people. This is an election year. They're going to play this game, and they're going to play it hard, man. And we're still in January. We are still in January. We are 10.5 months away, okay, to seeing any kind of light in this dark tunnel. If you want to help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal. Also a link to my merch store. Check it out. And I left the other links to Tucker Carlson and the other channel, so you guys can go and show them some love and check out their information and what they got. Check out the footage, stuff that the mainstream media is not showing, people. So remember, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, and keep praying for this country. Peace.